Welcome back to the social work race. Forgive me. Every episode I do, I'm like, I'm sorry, it's been such a long time. I should have been doing this all along. I should have been recording more. There's more coming. Yes, there is. I'm going to record a few episodes tonight. So, again, apologies. Currently, we're at 156 episodes. It's quite a lot. A lot of it has slipped my memory as to what's going on. I'll have to go back and have a look at all of my episodes. However, more importantly, today I'm recording something for who? Social work students primarily and newly qualified social workers. That's where I start and that's where I want to exist for social work at this point. So this episode is really to just ensure that we are thorough about the work that we do with families. At some point, especially if you're a student, you won't be on Section 47 investigation straight away. Funny enough, when I qualified, that's where I went straight in the deep end. That's what it was at the time. But nowadays, local authorities are much more apprehensive to do Section 47 inquiries, have newly qualified social workers do Section 47 inquiries because they're so serious. That's a child protection inquiry. Um, but what you can also get, and you'll understand that as I talk through this case, is you can also get a case that starts out as a Section 17 assessment, which is, voluntary, where, we've had an anonymous referral. It doesn't sound too serious. We just want to explore it. And so we can go in and, with the parents' consent, do that work, but it could actually envelope, open up into something quite serious, right? So that's where you want to keep your eyes open as a social worker. This case, someone sent this to me yesterday, I can't remember. This TikTok video. And this TikTok video really does highlight a few things where social services can miss things, although this has no mention of social services whatsoever. By the way, you might hear background noise. We're at home. I've got a cold. Everyone else has got a cold here. You might hear some coughing and all of that. That's life. That's what it is. I'm not going to edit it out at all. So what I'm going to do is play this video. And for those of you on audio, you can hear it all the same. I want you to reflect on the potential mistakes that we can make as social workers. Bearing in mind, I want you that this has got nothing to do with social work, but you could be involved. So imagine social services were called out to this situation. That's what I want you to do. And ask yourself questions. I'm going to address it. Some of this is blind. I don't watch all of the videos that I'm going to go through in these next few episodes. I see snippets of them, and then I just do a blind reaction. So my reaction to this won't necessarily be coordinated and planned and scripted. This one is going to be just me reacting to the video. Let me press play.
A toddler found dead in a locked bathroom in Ipswich had traces of Class A and B drugs in her system, as her mother and her lover stand accused of murder. Chelsea Gleeson Mitchell and her boyfriend Scott Jeff, both 24, are accused of murdering 2-year-old Isabella Wilden, whose body was found in a locked bathroom at a council-run temporary housing unit in Ipswich. Police discovered Isabella after a friend of Chelsea's reported receiving a suspicious message about the child's death. The couple is said to have...
So, listen up. That's probably an anonymous referral, and assume it comes to social services. We're going to now do our first visit or make our initial contact. Okay, that's a mum. I think it's the boyfriend. I don't think it's the child's father, from what they said, but I'm making some assumptions. But again, this is a classic feature of where the abuse tends to come from. It's not necessarily from dads. It's actually, let me rephrase that. It's not so much from dads themselves. It's about 85% of the time from boyfriends. Okay. So she's had a child. She's young. They're both young, early 20s. And he's in the picture. He's got a picture of himself smoking something there, which is an indicator of mindset and challenges that you might find when you're working with the family. And there's an anonymous referral. So she has a friend who said, look, we think the baby's dead, which is crazy. Let's go on.
To have kept the death of Isabella secret, whilst wheeling her... The couple is said to have kept the death of Isabella secret, whilst wheeling her lifeless body around in a pushchair with the hood pulled up for 3 whole days, even taking her corpse to a shop to purchase a video game. Isabella was said to have been deceased for several days before police found her body under blankets in a shower.
Check this out. What the heck? So they're trying to cover up the situation. This. Here we go. They're trying to cover up. They're trying to cover up this child's death by having the child in public. To be seen by everybody. This is why social work is such a challenge, right? Because people will feel intruded on, right? But this happens every week in this country. Okay, about 2 children are dying every week in this country because of this type of problem. I think we're going to hear more about the abuse. I want you to think about all the clues and the correlations. It doesn't mean that everyone's guilty of it, but you got to use correlations and understand patterns of behaviors. There's so much I want to say. You can tell. People need to understand that we don't know who perpetrators are until we sit down and at least have a conversation. They will get upset with us for intruding and asking families to work with us. But this is what happens. This child is dead, unalived, because 2 people colluded. There's more, but you got to be so careful about being thrown off. We don't know who is who until we get in there. We don't know who perpetrators are, or we don't know if a child is being abused until we get in there. Do you get this? And not every case can you muscle your way in. If you have to, some cases you have to. Most cases, in my opinion, you have to do a level of work to build trust. But how do you know what cases they are where the child has been abused? How do you know? And that's the challenge. So people will be upset with us, but when we don't do our jobs this way, this is what happens. Let's press play. I'm going to take it back a little bit.
In the bathroom, Isabella was declared dead at the scene by a paramedic, and a later post-mortem showed she had suffered soft tissue injuries to her head, neck, torso, limbs, and back. She also had fractures to both her wrists and a complex pelvic fracture involving several bones, likely to have been caused by kicking or stamping. Some injuries had allegedly occurred up to 2 weeks before her death, and others as little as 6 hours before she died. Class B and C.
She was being abused. There you go. So postmortems have shown that this young child was abused over a period of time. It gets deeper when you think about it. And I'm speculating a lot, but I'm entitled to speculate. There's 2 people involved here. There's a boyfriend and there's a mum of a very young child. Think about this. Because the priority, if I can speak to parents just for a minute, your priority is your child. Do not rush into relationships with a boyfriend, especially if you've got young children. It is not worth it. Okay, especially men who have a history, or you don't know anything about their history, about their relationships with their parents, about their conduct. They'll be smoking drugs. They're not able to find jobs or hold down anything secure. They're struggling with their education. You've got to ask these questions. This is not a critique against people who don't have much going for themselves. This is a critique against the parent not doing the work, because I came from somewhere that wasn't much. So it's not about not coming from much. It's about, well, you're about to enter my family and I have children. Do I know you enough? Have I done any I use the term due diligence. Why am I talking about this? Because there's a boyfriend in the home with a 2-year-old child? Is it 2 and a bit? And someone is clearly physically abusing that child over weeks. And none of these 2 have said, we haven't got any. One of them is not saying anything about it. Let me get myself together. One of them is not saying this isn't right. That's what we're talking about. For whatever reason, this child has no protective members of their family that they're exposed to. That's what we're talking about. Let me take it back just a second or two because it's a lot.
Death, and others as little as 6 hours before she died. Class B and C drugs were also found in the toddler's system.
This is why I know that cannabis, I know that cannabis is the acceptable drug. People think it's safe and all that. But when you see drugs, high levels of unemployment, a person's been in care, alcohol, and you hear these allegations, you've got to take it serious. Now, how serious we take it is another debate. But the family have to show that there's work that needs to be done. They have to show it. You know, a lot of the cases that we get, cannabis is there. And don't get me wrong, cannabis is not necessarily a cause. It's just a mindset issue that we're dealing with because we have young children. So it's not to say that if you use cannabis, you're an abuser. It just means that there are certain correlating factors that come hand in hand when you have worries in a family. We get this all the time. It's just the same set of issues in some communities. So let's go back a little bit.
C drugs were also found in the toddler's system.
So the child has drugs in their system, which means that they're probably smoking and using around the child, and the child is inhaling it. Significantly, that it's in their system when they do a blood test. So it's not even metabolized out, which means that they were probably intoxicated at the time that it happened, or at least he was.
Class B and C drugs were also found in the toddler's system. The tragic death occurred in June of last year. Both accused appeared in court today as their trial commences, pleading not guilty to Isabella's murder. The trial is expected to last 6 to 8 weeks.
Man, if there was ever a message, it was ask questions and get the voice of the child. We cannot save them all, but we have to do our best to work out what risk is and hold parents to account. I'm trying to work with you, help me. I tell parents all the time, like, look, what your case is right now, we've got 10 of these that look exactly the same right now on my caseload. So can we do some work to avoid some of the issues? You may feel you're innocent, but do the work. Smoking drugs in the home is not good. And if you do that in front of your child and it's a boyfriend who's not attached to the child, Cinderella effect. Go and look it up. If you've got someone who's in the house and they're doing it and you are unable to stop it, you are a part of the problem. I'm just saying, there's so much to look at here. But when social workers don't hold families to account after seeing something like this, come on, this is serious. This is a life and death situation. So can I encourage, firstly, parents to do the work, due diligence work, and can I encourage social workers, students, you know what you're getting into now. Now you know what you're getting into. Ask questions and be brave. You won't be accepted by every family. Most families are actually okay, but there is one in probably 20 families who they will really reject you, probably because they're hiding. Not all, but some because they're hiding. And that's the work that you've got to try and do. It does happen through building relationships, but you won't always get that opportunity. Ask questions. Here's a big one. Look around the house. Look around the house respectfully, because you might, in this case, baby was found in the shower under towels and sheets. Do the work. Hope this helps. A little bit of a reality check with social work. More videos to come. Please visit my platform, share, like, discuss, and take care of yourselves.